Tucson Audubon Society is an organization that sets its sights on conserving the environment. Andy Bennett and other environment enthusiasts are active in the community on a daily basis. They go to sites in Tucson and its greater area to establish habitats, mainly directed towards migrant birds. With a lot of help from volunteers and 50,000 tons of rock used in stream restoration structures and erosion control, the Tucson Audubon Society has managed to plant over 15,000 plants at multiple sites since 2012.
Conservation of natural resources as they relate to birds, first of all, but usually that's more of an umbrella conservation perspective because birds fly around and they occupy so many different habitats that we are able to preserve or work on preservation of habitats for all species because birds are so ubiquitous across the landscape. So we get tons of birds right now, so it's the time to see as many species as you can. Well, a lot of birds prefer riparian corridors, so along creeks and rivers, lakes and things. They like that because there's a lot more vegetation usually, there's a lot more stuff to eat, and they can take a bath, they can drink water. That's actually, those kind of habitats, riparian habitats, are the habitats that have been most impacted by people in Arizona and the Southwest in general for the last 60, 70 years. We've lost a lot of those habitats, so it's really important that we start to restore some and try to protect the ones that we have left. And that's what the Habitat Restoration Program is geared toward, is those riparian corridors that are so important for migratory stopover spots and also for habitat for nesting for birds that do stay here once they get here. Take the crew out, figure out what you're going to do, and then you get to it. So it's 6-7 hours of manual labor, planting stuff, raking, creating water harvesting basins so that when we're not there to water, if there is rainfall or the water that we did use to water those plants with is retained longer instead of just planting on a flat surface. We plant in basins to harvest that water and retain moisture. And it can range from days and days and weeks of manual labor, planting stuff, protecting plants with wire mesh so plants they don't get eaten by rodents and things. I think that something that we're starting to realize as a culture, as a society in the U.S. is the loss of so many natural areas and how it affects us mentally and affects our health. It's really nice to go out sometimes and hike around in a beautiful place. It makes you feel better. You get away from the city. It's calming. It's therapeutic. And I think a lot of people find it's nice to know that some of those places still exist. And as we grow and develop and become more and more industrialized and more spread out, we lose those places. So I think it's very important.
Rachel Flores is GreaseCycle's driver. The beginning of her workday starts at around 6 a.m. and is the first step in making biodiesel. Various restaurants in Tucson, such as the University of Arizona's Park Student Union, supply GreaseCycle with vegetable oil that they leave in a tank like this one. Vegetable oil isn't the only source of biodiesel. Biodiesel can also derive from animal fats as well. Also, biodiesel being the same thing as raw vegetable oil is a common assumption. This is not true. For biodiesel to be used, it has to meet certain requirements. Biodiesel meets the requirements of ASTM D6-751, which is a table that lists 12 standards that must be met for a source of fuel to become legal. Biodiesel is also legally registered with the Environmental Protection Agency as a legal motor fuel for sale and distribution.
I would say 80 to 90% of our customers don't really care about biodiesel. The two biggest complaints I hear from people that know what they're talking about are it has slightly less energy than diesel fuel, very small less amount. And the other negative you could say is people want to, feel like they need, have to use it in 100%, using pure biodiesel. And that's typically not really advised because most engines don't run on 100% pure biodiesel. You need to run it in blends of 20, B20 or less, because the engines aren't really optimally designed. Now, on the other side, any diesel engine can use a B20 blend. There's no conversions, there's no worry about compatibility. That's just the black and white truth.
Biodiesel should be used because it doesn't damage the environment like gasoline does. It reduces greenhouse gas emissions by 86%, and it's made from renewable resources. The fact that it's produced domestically is also beneficial. It decreases our dependence on imported fuel, and it contributes to our own economy. Despite those benefactors, a lot of people still aren't using it, which could be because people think it has significantly less energy than diesel fuel, even though the difference is minimal. The company hasn't been producing for a year yet, but it's on pace for producing in between 500,000 and 1 million gallons.